Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ellison Cruz, and I'd like to welcome you to one of my favorite video games of all time, Shadow of the Colossus. This project might seem a little different from the things you regularly see on my channel, but hopefully that doesn't turn you away from a game that I feel deserves justice and not just a quick playthrough with song lyric titles and frustration around every corner like most of my videos. Now, I want to be able to show you as much of this fascinating game as I possibly can, and in doing so, I'll have to do a couple of things a little bit differently than I normally would on my other Let's Plays, which include alternating between normal and hard modes and post-commentating in certain parts. I'll clarify more as we continue onwards, but basically there's just so much elegance and beauty and wonder in this game that I'll try to contain them within the confines of 17 videos or so, one for each of the Colossi in the game as well as the finale. Now, I'm playing on the PS3 HD collection, and with that in mind, we'll be covering the entirety of what this game has to offer, aside from collecting the lizards and fruit that cover the land. I'll try to include as much as I can about the plot, the story, and the lore about the game, as well as a comprehensive walkthrough for those who happen to be struggling through the game. I'll gloss over other things as well, such as unused material, fan theories, and the legacy this game holds today. The music in this game is so good. Anyway, enough with the exposition. I've already probably driven off 95% of the viewers who managed to stay this long. So, yeah, let's just cut to the chase. Here we've got our intrepid hero Wander and his valiant steed Agro, traversing the land until they reach what has been called the Forbidden Land, which contains many different types of terrain, ranging from the mountainous and jagged to the gorgeous and stunning. What's kind of ironic, though, is that the vast expanse of land is tragically one of the most underutilized features this game has to offer. This game. So, yeah, I kind of want to apologize for the slightly lengthy episode to start us off. There aren't very many cutscenes over the course of the game, but they just seem to throw them all in the beginning and the middle. Or the beginning and the end, rather. And that doesn't really bother me, but I kind of wish they were a bit more evenly distributed. Amazing. Look at this thing, man. So here we are, at long last the Forbidden Land, and this is the only way you can get in is across this giant bridge. It's also the only way we can get out. So that's always fun. I can't even articulate my emotions. It's just, I love it, but there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to present to you, at long last, Shadow of the Colossus, and, there we go. And that was just the introduction cutscene. Now, you'll notice there's actually a new game mode for hard mode, which is a little unusual considering most games let you choose the difficulty and you can move the camera just like an eco during all the cutscenes. So that's kind of cool. So that's not the only questionable design choice they made, was making a difficulty for that one particular save file. But we'll touch on that more. For now, we'll start on a normal file. And from here on out, every other Colossus will be alternating difficulties, and they will be fought on files that already have my stats carried over from previous playthroughs to lessen the frustration for me and to potentially increase the entertainment value for you. But who am I kidding? You guys probably want to see me fail, which, you know, in all honesty, I probably still will, despite having beaten this game 6 times over the past month, as well as beating all the Colossus on time attack, which again is something I'll be briefly covering. Now, here we are entering the Shrine of Worship, which basically serves as our hub of the world, and like I said, being the only entrance and exit to the Forbidden Lands. And, well, it's also the center of the universe. Man, what were those architects thinking? So this area serves extreme importance to us because we'll be returning here every single time we defeat a Colossus. And there's also a seeker we can be indulging ourselves with on top of the shrine itself once we've collected all the extras in the land, but we'll get to that later. strife with spoilers this first episode is, but beautiful.
Was Yuhik Aurel Yekorol Ikudu Ibikuka Yulzolu Ionbu Yulilo Cock I Yuzi Yulakol Doloya Olik Olazulam Kaz Ilzozeriku Atzoko Amnos Crudo Laomism Walk was you the last also. Few hours is good. Ikola Kizado you Lola. Islis Pozayu Aumizquiki. You are la Quika.
오시주 하일로와 부큐 아이쿠아 우이게스 야스우 츠도코 와시노르 데키오 우티유 이라 이즈큐무크 이두세 어로도유 이웰리쿠 It's not ours amuso Alu tiklik if the least to is
オーストモンド伊豆を言うなエヴァからオース伊豆をアウナドクユエコズユエドリノク
우러노라 오유 아우 벳
I was beautiful, no peace, no quarrels. Ono's around. I will continue. Ale was not you were and you were you.
유등 유벳자나다
I hope was not oh you will I answer was you will Oriku Zula Ukira Jura Nosu Iwaya Aldu Nuku
올람
You are the widow, you will yell. Oil, I will shoot it.
올라 유등유
Wow. Anyway, take a look at my awesome mask, you guys. So this is one of the more powerful items in the game, but we won't be using them all, at least not immediately. So what we're going to be doing, there are 8 items you can get from defeating the Colossi in Time Attack, and because we'll be fighting 8 Colossi per difficulty, I'll use 1 additional item each time we switch, and so I think we're going to start off probably using the Mask of Strength, which is basically a weaker version of the Mask of Force, which I just had on, and it'll increase our damage done to a Colossus using our Ancient Sword, which is good for us, that we stole from Dorman. And so, yeah, check it out. Look at how masquerade we look. Oh, and I do believe over here we've got ourselves, yes, our beautiful and loyal companion, Agro. Ah, she's so beautiful. Now, you'll notice this white spot on her forehead. I didn't notice this ever until recently, but you'll notice it's in the shape of an eye, and that's because I have an eco save file that I did on the channel a few years back, which actually takes place after this game. If you didn't have a save file with eco, then it'd just be a boring old, I think, a rhombus on her forehead, so... Yeah. Anyway, I really do like Aggro, but she controls like a freaking tank, and for certain places, you'd almost be better off not even riding her on and just going on foot. So, Anyway, this is the light that Doran was referring to when he said go to where the light gathers, because that's where the Colossus you need to fight is. Unfortunately, this game is pretty linear, but, you know, that's alright. So, just keep that in mind, that those are things we can do. You can zoom in with the R2, which is really cool for some cinematic bits. And over here, you'll notice certain trees will actually possess some very magical properties. Right over here, you'll notice I had a fruit map on my items. That's one of the things you can unlock on both difficulties. But what you can do is collect fruit in this game. Now, aside from killing Colossus, consuming fruit from trees and shiny-tailed lizards will increase your health and stamina, respectively. And I don't know where the other one is, but, you know, it doesn't really restore it by that much. It's actually pretty meager, but that's okay, because it'll take you almost 4 complete playthroughs to maximize both your health and stamina from killing only the Colossus, which admittedly is probably the fastest way to max them out, but you also need to eat every single fruit and tail in the world to get 2 trophies. But just don't bother doing that until you're close to max it out, because it'll screw you over, because more are on top of the shrine, and you can't get up there without a crazy amount of stamina, so just keep that in mind, that don't make the same mistake I did. So, alright, so anyway, here we are at a cliffside over here, and and here we have our first true obstacle, which is basically our tutorial cliff, and if you couldn't have guessed at this point, this game focuses immensely on the platforming aspect, which I think is pretty solid, no pun intended. But I do have a couple of reservations, notably with Wander and the Colossus, which is ironic considering that's the entire game, but the physics in this game are just so ragdolly, and it's insane. Like, I know it's really hard to keep your balance when you're standing on an immense moving creature, but at the same time, he will trip while walking up a slope, and he trips so often, it's insane how much Wander will stumble over himself, which is just, it's kind of hilarious at times, but when you're trying to focus on time attack, which people have spent hours and hours and hours doing, including myself, God, completing that thing must be like a labor of love, but it's just one of those things where it's like, is it really necessary for him to not really have gotten his training wheels off? I don't know, but with that being said and done, alright, ladies and gentlemen, the first Colossus we'll be facing is named Valis. He resides on top of this hill where a temple once stood, and as the riddle and platforming would also suggest, is incredibly introductory. Now, personally, this is one of my favorite and isn't very difficult. In normal time attack, you need to beat him in 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and on hard, you need to beat him in 2 minutes and 50 seconds. But because we're playing on normal, he'll only have one major sigil to take out, whereas on hard he'll have a second one on the back of his right arm there, where he's holding his club, which he is one of 3 colossi that actually holds a weapon, and the only one that holds a weapon that isn't a sword. So what you can do is jump on his fur here. Now, I didn't really make note of it, but you can grab onto vines, fur, and moss, and when you have the ancient sword out, you can notice weak spots, such as right here. Now, this is a minor sigil, and this is just required, or not exactly required, but you need to do this if you want to get up on him, because once you hit him good enough, well, he falls, and the awesome music plays. Alright, so now once he's down, you can grab onto, well, you can miss the easiest jump to make. You can grab onto this and climb up on his back, because he'll actually have a couple of platforms along the backside, and a lot of people have given this particular Colossus a lot of flack for the fact that while it is an introductory boss, that there's just easy platforms you can just rest there for, and so you can go ahead and jump up onto his head where his major sigil will be, and that's how we'll take him out. Now, because we have the Mask of Power, and also a huge amount of stamina, we'll probably take him out pretty quick. The Ancient Sword gets more powerful with the more stamina you have, so just keep that in mind. And so we'll go over here, and I'm actually going to do something a little cheap, and I'm going to go ahead and do a perfect grip. Now, I'll teach you guys how to do this a little later if you don't know how to do it, but basically, you'll notice right here, I can't do anything while he's thrashing about. And when you're trying to ready up your sword, well, that's going to be one of the more harder bits to do. Like, right there, I just did it perfect. Alright, and with that, we got him. Alright, let's get out of here. So we have vanquished our first Colossus. Despite how big he was actually the 4th shortest in the entire group, but we have to run from the darkness! Ah, God, that just looks so painful. Oh, poor Wanda. The things he'll do for love. And with a riddle to send us off to the second Colossus, I think we'll end it here. Next time on Shadow of the Colossus, we'll be facing Quadratus on hard mode, which in all actuality won't be that hard. My name is Ellison Cruz, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll see you guys in the next part, and maybe there won't be as much talking in the next mission. Maybe. See you guys then.